Alright, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today we're going to be talking about Call of Duty Black Ops 7, which they just did like the reveal trailer for yesterday as of me recording this video. And to be honest with you, I haven't really kept up too much with the Call of Duty cycle up until this year. Like, I knew that they were doing Black Ops 7 or whatever, but for me, it seems like this trailer kind of came out of nowhere. I don't know if that's because, like I said, I'm just not really trying to keep up with the news in this franchise, or if it really was like just kind of dropped or whatever. I don't know, but I ended up watching this trailer just out of curiosity. It popped up on like the YouTube homepage, and I noticed something that was pretty curious about it because, okay, I mean, everyone watching this video who pays attention to COD or has historically played Call of Duty, you probably know that Treyarch and like the Black Ops franchise in Call of Duty is like the fan favorite, right? Like basically any time that they announce one of these games and they have the Black Ops name on it, it gets some level of hype, it gets some level of praise. Even if the game like doesn't look the best or isn't really great or whatever, people still hold like a unique fondness for it. At least that's what I've kind of gathered, just kind of paying attention to the Call of Duty community. I used to obviously be real big into it or whatever, but this time around everything seems way different, at least from the traditional cycle I've always kind of seen where, yeah, like Sledgehammer or Infinity Ward, when they drop a trailer for their games, they definitely get a lot more hate than Treyarch does. But this time around, and I screenshotted some of these comments, I had to, because it's insane, honestly. Like, the reaction to Black Ops 7 by the fans or whatever seems very lackluster, lukewarm, whatever you want to call it. Honestly, it's almost hostile from some of the people that we're about to see. So this actually made me pre-order Battlefield 6. From a COD player, thank you for making it easy to choose Battlefield 6. People saying COD is getting too much hate. I personally think they aren't getting enough. This is like Infinite Warfare versus Battlefield 1 all over again. Can't even have a trailer without showing off bundles. Best advertisement for Battlefield 6. They took Black Ops 2's soul, crushed it into fine powder, modernized it, and served it cold. Press F. I expected nothing, and they still managed to disappoint. Looks like I'm spending time with the family. EA is probably throwing a giant party tonight. This trailer is the perfect summary of everything I hate about COD and not a single thing that I like. And I even went over to like Twitter to kind of see how people were reacting, and there's a lot of negativity there too. So also on this trailer, as of right now on YouTube, it has over 15 million views, and the likes that are on the video, keep in mind you can't see dislikes anymore, but the likes are out of 15 million, 33,000 views, or I mean likes, I should say. But as you can tell just from that, I mean, that is a pretty marginal number of people who are leaving like on that right now. That doesn't inherently mean anything, but I guess it is more or less an indicator when you combine it with like the comment section and a lot of the discourse people are having in other areas of the internet. It seems like a lot of people are pretty pissed off by this trailer, and obviously the comments are reminiscing back on when that Infinite Warfare trailer dropped, became the most disliked video in YouTube's history, and obviously, you know, everybody back then, oh, Battlefield's gonna kill COD, Call of Duty is garbage, bro, this Infinite Warfare shit sucks, dude, Battlefield 1 is up next, we got him, bro, Call of Duty is dead. Now, as you can see from this video here, I did play the Battlefield 6 beta. I always have kind of liked Call of Duty and Battlefield going back like to my childhood basically, but I'm at a point where I don't really play COD anymore. You know, it's like a 3-day every year kind of thing through Game Pass. I try out the campaign or whatever. I play like 30 games of the multiplayer, if that, and that's basically about the extent of it for me. But I did enjoy the Battlefield 6 beta. I thought it was pretty fun. It was pretty polished. You know, the gunfights were pretty nice. The maps, I don't know, I'm kind of conflicted on. I wish there were some larger maps in the beta, but you know, a lot of these people are saying, oh, this made me pre-order Battlefield 6. You made it so easy for me to pre-order. Never been easier, you know, just shit like that, right? Now, obviously, I think some of this hate on the trailer was bound to be there no matter what. I mean, just because Battlefield 6 is like the competitor to Call of Duty, like the real main one left, that and the fact that the beta literally just ended for that, and it seemed to have went pretty positively. I mean, a lot of people loved it. It had like massive player counts and everything. EA seemed pretty pleased with it too. It seems like a little bit of this was always gonna be there just because of that rivalry or whatever, you know? It seems like it's always there whenever they're like kind of going up against one another. But But for me personally, I mean, this year between Battlefield and COD, I will definitely be playing the new Battlefield game because I liked it and I'm excited to actually play its campaign. But Black Ops 6, for me, like, once again, this is somebody who doesn't really play COD anymore. It's really just not enough to move me. Now, is it not enough to move me just because, oh, I want to hate on COD or shit on it? No, that has really nothing to do with it. I mean, if I could really pick, like, if it was up to me, Call of Duty would be dropping great games every year like they did back in the 2000s and shit, right? But that obviously just isn't the case. The real driving factor behind COD now is the money. And even like some of these comments point out, like, they didn't even go through the trailer without pointing out bundles and like shit that you'll be able to buy. Because realistically, that's all Call of Duty is now, at least to me. It's like half video game, half digital marketplace. It's like trying to do that Fortnite thing where, like, you know, the skins are a big feature or whatever. I don't know, man. It just isn't for me. I don't know. Now, the story is still something that I kind of get interested in with Call of Duty. I at least try to keep up with them because I've always liked campaign too. But just from what I could see from the trailer, me personally, I don't know. It just didn't really intrigue me. It didn't draw me in. It didn't really get me excited. Like 10 years ago, if a Call of Duty trailer was dropping, I would have been ready. I would have been watching that shit. I'd have been ready to pre-order the game. But at this point, man, first off, the game is free on Game Pass. So you get to try it basically no matter what. And if it's just completely unplayable or it's mediocre, like basically every COD has been for the last like 8 or 9 years now, you can just delete it that day. You know what I mean? But there are, of course, people who are still like fucking buying this game, which that part to me, I'm not gonna lie, I can't really comprehend spending $70 on Call of Duty anymore, but some people, you know, that's their thing. You know, they play Call of Duty, especially casuals, and I think that's the part a lot of people forget because, once again, in these comments, in the discourse and whatnot around Call of Duty in general, there's this term that gets thrown around a lot, which is Call of Duty killer, okay? Now, if you're somehow unaware, this is a phrase that is used by people to describe another competing first-person shooter. It's not really one franchise or game. It's been used for fucking like 90 different games now, right? But it's a game that is supposed to come out alongside Call of Duty, be so much better and more enjoyable than COD, that everybody just gets off Call of Duty, goes to the new game. Activision, you know, they, I don't know, stick a thumb up their ass and waddle off somewhere. I really don't know. I don't know what people think are really gonna happen. And I used to subscribe to this shit, you know, back in the day, like 10 years ago or whatever. But that's really just all it is it's a phrase that people use to describe something. And realistically, it's something that never comes. You know what I mean? We're in an age where Call of Duty's not dying, okay? There is no Call of Duty killer. Even with this, like, it doesn't seem like the reception for this game is great, but there are still going to be people who play it and give it money, and not even just give it money. I mean, some of the people who are playing through Game Pass and getting the game for free, they're still buying, like, the Call of Duty Battle Pass, or they're buying the Uwu Kawaii Girl skin with the anime gun and the not King of the Hill, the Beavis and Butthead skins and shit like that, right? That's basically where it is, okay? That's where the money is. I saw a statistic the other day, and I'm pretty sure I quote tweeted this over on my own Twitter page, right? And it said that like 52% of the generated revenue for massive AAA first-person shooters at this point is just based on microtransactions. You know what I mean? It's not even based on like oh, we're charging you $70 to play the game. Because a lot of people, it doesn't matter if they're getting the game for free. It's the same mentality as Fortnite. It's, okay, well, the skin is cool. I'm gonna buy the American Dad skin. The American Dad skin is what, $15 to $30, depending on if it's bundled or whatever bullshit's going on. And you gotta think, they do that like 3, 4, 5 times a year. So even if you're not buying the game on Game Pass, you still have a good chunk of those people who are paying admission essentially to play by buying skins. And that's the way video games are now, and it's never really gonna change because, let's be real, people don't want it to change. Everybody likes the skins, everybody likes the concept of buying the cool camos and guns. Corporations that run these gaming companies and own them, they realize that there is a demand for these things. And as bad as I think Call of Duty has fallen off, as mediocre of a franchise as it's become to me, there are still hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people on a yearly basis who are being churned in and out of this game's machine. And it doesn't matter if you're playing for 2 days and you still buy a bunch of shit. People are still buying shit, you know? know, and that's realistically the only thing that matters in a game like this. So yeah, they're building a game that a lot of people, you know, they're, oh, I'm pre-ordering my Battlefield 6. This really shows me, man. Battlefield going back to their roots and Call of Duty going wacky again feels like Battlefield 1 and Infinite Warfare all over again. Yeah, I understand that, you know, I understand that concept, but even then, like, I'm also old enough to remember when that happened, the whole Battlefield 1 Infinite Warfare thing. As much of a good game as Battlefield 1 was, I, even to this day, still like to play Battlefield 1. It did not beat Infinite Warfare, sadly. It may have been a better game, it may have been a better product, but Infinite Warfare still, even though it was the least popular at the time Call of Duty game that ever was coming out, it still absolutely steamrolled Battlefield in terms of sales. And even though that happened a decade ago, damn near at this point, that all of this was even news in the fucking first place, and we were discussing Battlefield 1 and Infinite Warfare, even though people were talking about, oh man, Battlefield got him this year, Call of Duty killer, you fast forward all this time later, and Battlefield is still behind Call of Duty. Call of Duty is still ahead of everything. Call of Duty is ahead of every other shooter. It's ahead of all the, damn near all the sports games. It's ahead of everything, you know? Other than like Fortnite and a couple other games like Minecraft or whatever, Call of Duty has nobody that's gonna step in and disrupt them. And that may be part of the reason why when, like, you know, I saw this trailer, it's like, damn, this just looks uninspired. It looks like the developers don't know what to do anymore. They're bored. They're just making what they can. And it's because realistically, they aren't artistically pressured to actually innovate and make something great, make something new. When all of the great Call of Duty games were coming out in the 2000s and early 2010s, there were multiple great shooter franchises that were right on their tail. If they slipped up, you know, you had back in the day, you had like Battlefield, you had, of course, you know, the Doom games and whatnot over time, you had Medal of Honor, you had Quake, you had Halo, you had all these games, you know what I mean? Nowadays, it's not really the same. I mean, yeah, Doom is still releasing every once in a while. They're still pretty fantastic games. Halo is releasing every once in a while. You know, you could debate whether or not the latest one was that great. Battlefield is still releasing from time to time. This game looks a lot more promising than the last few and plays a lot better than the last few in my opinion. But no matter what, they still have not disrupted COD. So when I see a lot of these comments, I understand the place that they're coming from. People are frustrated, you know, they're getting the same thing over and over and over again in Call of Duty's camp, but that's the way it's going to continue to be until they actually face a sharp drop-off in money. If they were to, so there's statistics all the time that come out, you know, 4 months after the Call of Duty game releases, you know, it comes out October, November, whatever. Then by February or March, you know, you see the reports and they'll be like, oh, 60% of Call of Duty's player base has stopped playing in the last 3 months of the game being out. Is Call of Duty finally waking up and realizing that the players don't want this? Well, they're basically building their whole model off of this ebb and flow that has existed and continues to exist because they know that the massive rise in revenue still comes at release. The wave still gets up pretty high, you know what I mean, in terms of the money that they're making. So it's not enough to actually force them to do anything different. It is kind of just, I don't know, wild. It kind of made me chuckle seeing the words Black Ops 7 reveal trailer. And it's just because it's like, damn, man. I remember when the first Black Ops came out, I was in like middle school, I think. And then now, you know, we're on Black Ops 7 and I'm just sitting here like, dude, I couldn't care less, sadly. Like, you know, I couldn't care less. And it's not because I don't even, you know, not want to care or like not want to play COD. It's just because it's gotten so far from away from what it actually was when I enjoyed it that I can't really find myself getting excited for it. So it seems like a lot of other people, and keep in mind, it's not literally every single person, but it's a pretty good vocal majority of the posts and comments that I've seen. People are fed up with it too, but can you really say you're fed up if people are still going to be spending $300 on the game in microtransactions? When halfway through Black Ops 7, they do the Adventure Time collaboration and they have Jake and Finn added to the game, or they put in the Looney Tunes cast or whatever, if people are still going to buy all that shit, people are going to buy the season passes, people are going to buy the bundles, the camo skins, the charms, then you're never going to get anything different. And it's not even just with COD, that really kind of holds true with every major gaming franchise. Like in sports games, I know people complain, man, these Ultimate Team modes, they're ruining Madden and FIFA and 2K and whatnot. Well, when 80% of the player base is buying $600 worth of digital cards every single year, I mean, you're never going to get these companies to listen. So anyway, that's just, I guess, my personal fleeting thoughts on Black Ops 7 and its reveal. I'm not personally too thrilled or impressed, you know what I mean? It's not really something I'm actively looking forward to. But at the same time, I realize like a lot of these repeated comments, you know, these repeat offenders in the comment section, like, man, this just doesn't look good. I mean, we just keep going through the same cycle at this point. I feel like I've made this video the last like 4 fucking years, you know what I mean? Where it's like basically the same conversation, same situation happening over and over again, you know? I don't know. It's just really interesting to see. I made a tweet earlier that was kind of crazy because I came to this realization. We're at a point in Call of Duty now where there are more of the new, like, mediocre, barely okay, maybe even dog shit Call of Duty games. There's more of those now than the actual classics. Like, for those of us who were like the OG COD players, and it's like, damn, this is an acclaimed franchise with great games. It's like, yeah, it was. And, you know, in its first, 40% of its cycle? Yeah, but we're pretty much at the point now where there's more misses than hits for most people. So anyway, with that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel. Follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at @SubToOptimus. Make sure to check out Shoptimus down below. Thank you to my Watch Optimus subscribers. Your support helps the channel tremendously. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus. Well, talking about the Call of Duty Black Ops 7 reveal and the conversation surrounding it, and signing out.